So, ladies and gentlemen, Little Baby shocked a lot of people recently by bringing out YFN Lucci for a performance at a concert. And many people were quick to speculate that maybe this is a sign that Little Baby has officially turned on Young Thug. Young Thug himself has actually quickly come out to basically squash that by putting out a somewhat cryptic, I considered it a somewhat cryptic response by posting a picture of Little Baby in front of a big pile of money that's sitting on a bed. I said it's cryptic because it's like, you're not, you could have just simply put up a picture with the caption saying, hey, me and Little Baby are still cool, but I get it. I get it. It's still, it's still got the point across. And I'm sure maybe behind the scenes, Young Thug and his people reached out to people like academics and many other people just to clarify that this picture is a positive sign and that they are, in fact, still cool with each other. I personally didn't care about any of the beef stuff affiliated with these people in the first place because a lot of what their issues are have nothing to do with the music itself. As far as the music itself, I've liked a lot of Little Baby songs and a lot of YFN Lucci songs and a lot of Young Thug songs. So, to me, this whole feud in general was kind of none of my business. I really wasn't obsessed with it like some other fans are. But at the same time, at the end of the day, many fans were very invested in this whole feud and the saga and everything behind it. But for the people that don't know or remember what happened, long story short, for a long time, YFN Lucci and his crew, YFN, did not see eye to eye with Young Thug and his YSL people. They were not cool with each other. And Little Baby obviously is very cool with Young Thug to the point where Little Baby even cut off Gunna, which I believe was Little Baby's biggest mistake in his career, in my opinion, because I think Gunna's better at making that type of, for that specific lane that they're in, I think Gunna's better at making that music than Little Baby. And I think it's honestly showing itself right now over the past like 2 to 3 years since Gunna's been free, because he's still cranking out those type of hits within that lane. He's cranking out hits at a more impressive rate than Little Baby, in my opinion. But either way, Little Baby has made it clear through his actions that he still wants to stand with Young Thug. That's somebody he clearly wants to stay locked in with. But at the same, and then also when as far as there was instances where many people on both sides were getting in bad situations. The most notable example was there was apparently a day where YFN Lucci and his people, they pulled up to a neighborhood that was populated with a lot of people from the 4PF camp, which is Little Baby, and one thing led to another. One of YFN Lucci's people got shot. They kicked the guy out of the car and drove off, and then that guy died. But either way, both Young Thug and YFN Lucci got caught up in RICO cases. It looked like neither one of them was going to see the light of day ever again, but both of them ended up defying the odds. They both got free now, and now you're seeing that. Even though I don't think Young Thug is ever gonna bring out YFN Lucci on stage, it does seem as though maybe Young Thug is starting to change how he views a lot of these situations. Instead of him viewing it from a street perspective, maybe he's viewing it from more of a more mature business standpoint. And they're all at a very interesting point in their careers, in my opinion, all three of these guys, because even though all three of them are still fairly popular, I think all three of them are all at a point where they're past the peak of their popularity and they're at risk of falling off. Now, falling off is not what it was, 35 years ago or whatever, where if you fall off, you're never gonna see the light of day again, and you're never gonna be able to do anything and make any money or whatever. That's not really the case in this day and age. In this day and age, you could fall off, so to speak, and still tour around the country and even in different countries and be just fine. But I do think it is interesting that you see this a lot sometimes with people, especially artists, where once they start to kind of decline a bit in popularity, they start to maybe call a truce with some of the people they may have had issues with in the past. But at the same time, is this a moment of Young Thug showing genuine maturity, or is it just Young Thug and his team recognizing that they can't continue to try to apply a lot of this street logic and these street rules to the general public because the general public doesn't care. I think it could be a combination of both. Like maybe he just genuinely just got to a point where he's just like, hey, it is what it is. I don't care. If you want to bring him out, it's whatever. Just make sure he doesn't come around me. Or wait, a bad choice of words. Make sure he doesn't make sure you don't bring him around me. That could be it. But then also it could be a matter of Young Thugs recognizing that the general public, as much as they obsess over all of this street drama, this and that, and all this extra dumb shit, at the end of the day, most hip hop fans are just casual fans. They just want to rock with whoever's popular, whoever's cranking out more hits at the moment. And Young Thug has seen that because even though Young Thug clearly thought that Gunna was going to be somebody that the general public would completely abandon and just side with him, it's been the exact opposite. The general public has made it a point to continue to support Gunna because, to be honest with you, Gunna's been putting out the best music out of all of these guys, whether it's Young Thug, YFN Lucci, Little Baby. Gunna, honestly, I think Gunna's last two projects has been better than everything that these guys have put out recently, but that's just my opinion. And I could give the benefit of the doubt here and just assume that maybe it is just a moment of maturity for Young Thug because it happens, right? I'm sure many of you have experienced moments in your lives where there may be somebody who you aren't really fond of, but they're really cool with like a person who you may consider a friend or at least an associate. And you could, on one hand, you could have the immature response of like saying, hey, you can't be friends with them. You got to choose between me or this person. Like give them an ultimatum or whatever. But on the other hand, you could just have a more mature approach of saying, you know what, it is what it is. Just don't bring this person around me. And I think that may be Young Thug's mindset here, but that's just how I see it. Maybe you see it differently. I don't know. I'm out.